Hello everyone, and welcome to the Fictional Vortex. So we are back with an interesting movie on what if Naruto awakens all jutsu and become a Pokemon ninja. But before we start, I just want to remind you to please subscribe to my channel and hit the like button if you enjoy my content. Let's start the story. Chapter 1. Naruto just kept walking, not looking back. Kei and he walked around the village, not believe what Kakashi had said, or more correctly had not said. It seemed to the blonde that Kakashi that he did not have enough talent to train in anything, and instead had passed him to a closet pervert instead to train for the upcoming chunin exams, and the same closet pervert though that he could find Naruto without a problem since he had changed Naruto to H. And he would prove why he was so qualified to train ninjas. That had been 5 hours ago when it had started, and right now Naruto had one of his clones following the man to make sure he was not found out. Naruto's thoughts were cut short as he almost tripped and finally noticed where he had wandered to. He was in an training ground that had looked like it had not had anyone work on it or in it for a few years, and for some reason it seemed to radiated power. Looking around, he noticed he was completely alone and decided this was as good a place as any to train. With a quick summon of about 100 clones, he started working on his skills. After an all-out brawl against them, with Naruto winning barely, he got up tiredly and slowly started to make his way back to the entrance, only to trip over something and fall face first into the ground. Looking back to see what he had tripped on, he noticed it was a large scroll sticking partly out of the ground. Getting up quickly and looking at it, he noticed it was very old and stuck in the ground. It had red lines going along the side. Thinking about showing it to someone, he decided against and pulled it out of the ground and to him opened it. This decision was what would soon change his life for years to come. Opening it up, he first noticed a symbol at the top of it. It was a circle. The top part half was red while the bottom was white. While in the center was a small circle of gray that overlapped the two halves. He had never seen this symbol before but decided it did not matter at the moment, as he slowly opened up more of the scroll. Upon it he found two "just you" and some small words above them that seemed like instructions by the look of them. He decided to read the words above the "just you" first. It read, "Dear reader, before you is a scroll, and in it contains some of my life works. While it may not seem much at first, they are powerful just you that shall not be used lightly. The first one is a transformation jutsu, but this is unlike a normal transformation, which is only an illusion." Naruto looked at this and wondered why no one ever told him before that his transformation was real when he used it, which made no sense. He decided to leave that thought for a later time as he read on. "This just you and the hand signs, the seals are on the just you below, for it will allow you to become a real Pokemon for a little bit. Then you would release the form like you normal would it, a small blast of charka, like normal. You will be using of the Pokemon attacks, though learning these attacks and all their ability will take a while, but with hard work you should be able. The other is a summoning just you, so you can summon said Pokemon to help you out if need be. They could be anything from babies to a boss. Most of the ones you will summon though will be bosses for their species. There are also the true boss summonses, which are legendary Pokemon that far surpass any other Pokemon in power and skills. Only summon them needed, for they change the very face of the earth if they want to. Because of the many different forms of the Pokemon you can take and summon, I have made left in a seal below this letter above. That contain every attack a Pokemon can learn and everything I have been able to find out about these remarkable creatures. Also, in order to summon these Pokemon you will need to sign your name in blood in one of the boxes at the bottom of this scroll. Thanks for reading this. I do not have a lot left to say, but I will wish you luck on your use of this just you. Also realize one last thing, these Pokemon have more powerful, sometimes have more power than any ninja I have seen or heard of, so don't disrespect them unless you become or very close friends with them, and even then be careful." Single quote. The letter did not end with a name on who had made it or wrote it. Naruto just sat there looking at the scroll, not believe what he was reading nor that power he could have if he was able to use both just you. He just stared at it for a long while before he finally made up his mind and signed his name in the box below with his own blood. He knew that next it was time to start training. In the meantime, inside to seal with Kyuubi. Kyuubi looked at the wall that had been made over the prison he was in by the snake Sannin. It was riddled with holes and craters, but it had not fallen just yet. It sighed and greed before powering up another attack and firing at the wall again, taking out another chunk of it. Why was Kyuubi angry, you ask? Because even if it was sealed it could still see and feel the world through. Naruto's senses and this wall had stopped that and him sending Chakra to heal Naruto so he would live longer, and while Kyuubi did not really care if the boy died, if he had not been sealed, he did care because if Naruto die he would too. So with another growl he fired another shot at the wall, taking out a huge chunk, causing the rest of wall to fail and fall down, leaving him able to give more to Naruto's Chakra again. With a satisfied nod he gave a happy jump as the sense from the outside world came back to him again, and then he noticed something ever odd out of his container's eyes. It was a scroll, but not any old scroll, but a scroll that he himself had made and had planned to give to a worthy person, but he had lost it not long before he was sealed when that fool of a ninja tried to control him. He laughed a little bit as Naruto signed his name and started on the summon just you and slammed his hand into the ground. With a smirk he disappeared from the seal. Oh yes, this is going to be fun, he though. Chapter 2. Naruto smirked as he dismissed the summons. It had been a long month, but now he was ready for the final exams. He got up from the training ground and left the training ground he had found a month ago and went to get some ramen at Ichiraku ramen shop. On the way there he remembered the first summon he did and who he summoned, Kyuubi. It was weird that much as for sure, but in the end it turned out he could trust the fox much more than most people he knew. At first they had, or more correctly Kyuubi talked about what had happened and where the scroll had come from, and where he had come from. It took the better part of that afternoon for Naruto to even understand half of it, but finally Naruto had it figured out. Kyuubi, it seemed, came from a different mission, and after being cursed by another of his species had been turned into a demon, but since the curse had not been directed correctly he was sent to a different dimension. As time passed Kyuubi grew strong and slowly became the nine-tailed demon that everyone knew. But about 10 years before Kyuubi ended up attack the village, he developed the summon scroll that Naruto had found and used it to be a BLE to summon a great deal of the creatures from his original dimensions, then seal a true blood clone of each and every kind into scroll before releasing the real ones back to their home. This allowed whoever signed the scroll to summon out a real version of whatever Pokemon they wanted out of the scroll, instead of having to pull out a real Pokemon from the original dimension, which would cost a lot more Chakra. It was a little bit later Kyuubi added the book, letter, and both of the just you to the scroll to complete it. Then about a year before Kyuubi attacked the village he met a strange man outside his den. This man, upon seeing him, attacked him but was forced to flee when one of Kyuubi's tails destroyed the snake summon he brought out to fight. But it seemed the man was not easy stopped. He tried 10 times over the course of the next year until finally Kyuubi decided to stop him once and for all, and after the last attempt failed to control him he attacked the man with all his force, causing to flee back to one of the village hidden in the leaves. With that he disappeared, but since Kyuubi did not really caring if some things were destroyed, kept attacking until he was confronted by the village Hokage and was sealed into Naruto. Naruto for one was in shock until Kyuubi sent him into a tree to make him breathe again, though he regretted it later as Naruto then asked him question after question on what he could summon and do. And in the end he ended up become Naruto teacher, teaching him everything that he knew about ninja and Chakra training. Naruto took to it like a sp. taking in everything Kyuubi taught him. And by the end of the first week Naruto had got his Chakra control to the best it could be, though it was still not above a high chunin. Then Kyuubi got to work on trying the different forms out. Naruto at first thought this would be a waste of time, right up until Kyuubi told him that while changed he could use any and all attacks his form knew, and the more he knew about the attacks the more uses the summon clones would be to him. After that Naruto was more than willing to take the form of any Pokemon Kyuubi told him to, though he asked again if there was a faster way to do it. This made Kyuubi sigh as before he explained the abilities the shadow clones had besides being solid, which were 1. Being able to send anything it remember back to it owner, meaning if it learned a just you then so could the person who made the clone too. Was that if a clone felt any pain, ate, or anything Naruto would also know what that felt like. When Naruto asked why, He never noticed before Kyuubi pointed out that with him in Naruto mind he was the one to deal with the memories first, so he was able to get rid of anything that was not needed, like what it felt like to be cut in half by Zabuza's sword. Naruto thanked Kyuubi for doing that, though he still asked what it felt like and found out the answer: it was not fun at all. As he entered into the shop he ordered his normal 12 bowls of ramen and began to wait for the food as Ayame came over and talked to him. "So why are you? I thought you had to fight today, Naruto." Naruto looked up at Ayame. "Oh, just getting a little lunch before I go and start." "But I thought it started about an hour ago." She asked. "Bring out the food from the back." Looking at him she noticed his look changed. Instead of that "kill me orange" jumpsuit he used to wear, he was now wearing dark blue ninja pants and shirt. "Nah, it starts in about an hour. Something came up with and it was pushed back a few hours," answered Naruto as he started to eat the food. "Ah, that would make sense, I guess. So I heard you had to face a Hyuga. You worried at, or do you have some plan to beat him into the ground?" she said with a smirk. Naruto laughed a little bit. "Nah, I got a plan, so this one is in the bag." "Oh, that is good, though I am wondering, do you have a plan for anyone else once you win against your first opponent?" Naruto looked at her for a moment. "Oh yeah. If I do win I do have to face off against whoever wins their rounds." Ayame stared at Naruto and face faulted. "You got to be kidding me. If you don't have a plan, how can you win? Especially with what I have heard about that one contestant, Gaara." Naruto smiled up at her over his 6th bowl of ramen. "Don't worry about it, I have made some plans in case I have to fight them though. If I do it will be harder since I put forward most of my time to getting ready for Gaara and Neji, since I figure they will be the hardest out of the contestants." Ayame tried to hit Naruto for mocking her worry a little bit, but he ducked out of the way. "You better not get to hurt Naruto, or I might have to beat you myself for not planning well enough." Naruto laughed a little bit. "Don't worry about it, there is no way I am going to let myself be outdone by anyone today unless he is completely lazy Genesis, in which case I probably just win anyway," Naruto said, thinking about Shikamaru. This caused Ayame to sweat drop. "You're kidding me, right? Nope, one of the competitors is a Genesis but is really too lazy do much more the quitter, try then later just quit the match," said Naruto before he started on his final bowl of ramen. "And I thought I knew some people that were lazy." Naruto would laugh at she said this if his mouth was not full at the moment. He quickly proceeded to finish off the bowl before he paid for his food. After saying goodbye he left for the stands. As he got closer to them he noticed that it was a huge arena with some trees around the outside giving him or a NY1 else plenty of room to move around, but almost no cover. At least not any real good cover. This gave him some good opinion before he remembered that his opponent was also had a better advantage when it came to a place like this. He let that train of thought go as he noticed it was still an hour to starting time. And seeing that he had time to kill, he walked up one of the walls and laid down on it using Charka till the match started. It was almost an hour later when Naruto moved again. He noticed all but Sasuke was down in the arena and waiting for the match to start. Detaching himself from he hoped down and walked over to them, giving a wave to Shikamaru and Shino. He looked over and noticed that Kid from the sound was not there either. Though if he had to guess, seeing the 1 gram UY temper, he might have tried to take on Gaara beforehand, and might have lost or worse have been killed. As he turned, a Jonin different from before appeared near them with a small board in his hands with their names on it and spoke to them. "Hello, my name is Genma. I am in charge of the finals, as it seems the Sound Genin will not be here today for reasons not known. So that means Shikamaru, you will face down Tamari rather than wait." Naruto smirked as he heard Shikamaru mutter, "Troublesome," under his breath. As the Hokage stood up and welcomed everyone to the final rounds of the Chunin exam. "Now will everyone but Naruto and Neji head up to the contestant box," said Genma. The other contestants went up as Genma quickly did a quick overview of the rules again for Naruto and Neji. After they quickly took their spots and the stands fell quiet. Genma looked at one to the other before he gave the signal to start and jumped back, knowing very well these two could bring the pain, or at least Neji could. Neither Naruto nor Neji moved at first before Neji spoke. "So the loser has come to face me and try and help my loser of a cousin. Too bad, because no matter what you will try you will lose to me, as you are fated to, just like my worthless cousin was fated to Naruto neither moved nor replied, just stared at Neji. "Ah, I see, too scared to move, you cannot face me it seems, and it is no surprised since you are fated to lose. And since you are not going to move, I think I will start." Again Naruto did not reply nor move as Neji rushed forward and to end it with a single palm strike. "Neji, you are a fool," Naruto said before he did a backflip, sending out a kick forcing Neji to stop his attack. Upon landing he went through a few hand signs and a mist covered the area, hidden mist. Jutsu. The mist slowly got thicker and thick until the whole area was covered in mist. Neji was forced to use his Byakugan to even see Naruto outline in the mist. "You are truly blind, Neji, and your so-called all-seeing eye is nowhere near as good as you seem to think." With that the mist thickened to the point that Neji could not even see Naruto outline. Neji continued to look, trying to sense Naruto, but it was not very good as he was hit by Naruto 10 times from every angle, but no matter what he tried he could not predict Naruto moves at all, since he would at times be hit behind or in front at the same time. He was getting tired of this and activated his eyes and looked around. All he could see was a solid wall of charca. With that he realized that the mist was being made with and held together with Naruto charca. He smirked as he realized what he had to do. With that he got ready with an attack he was not planning on using, but he knew he would need. Up in the stand, Sarutobi stared down into the stadium in a little shock, since Naruto had just done something he had not seen since his predecessor. Naruto had used a water jutsu without a sources. To his right the Kazekage was talking to his guards before turning to him. "You have an amazing genin there, his teacher must be proud of him." "Yes, he is good, thought he is showing more skill than most even I thought possible." "Well, asked at the level of skill he has right now," answered Sarutobi, looking down at the arena as the mist started to spin fast and fast. Down in the arena, Neji smirked as he finally figured out Naruto's plan of attack and spun, releasing a large amount of charca to create one of his clan more famous attack. Rotation was heard through the entire stadium as the mist slowly swirled and disappeared, revealing Neji spinning with a sphere of charca surrounding him. The mist cleared more and more to reveal Naruto stand about 20 feet from the edge of the spinning sphere of charca, watching Neji closely. "Good job, you stopped my clones, but it cost what looked like to be one of your better moves," taunted Naruto with a smirk firmly on his face. "Now let's see what you are, how good you really are." Neji did no answer, instead rush forward again and attack Naruto with his family taijutsu, only to find that no matter what he did Naruto would knock his attacks aside or dodge them, and only blocked a shot once. Naruto was right now in a tight spot. He realized quickly taking on Neji in a taijutsu match was not a good idea, but he was glad he knew enough to dodge or redirect most of his attacks, especially after that first hit he took. He quickly threw a punch before jumped back. Again, "Okay, it looks like you can best me in Tai, so I think I will switch to ninjutsu, or more correctly a true transformation." Naruto flashed through some hand sign that anyone who had been a ninja knew, but after that he added a second set of seals ending with a weird seal. "True transformation jutsu," spoke Naruto, smirking before his body let off a huge flash of white light. For a moment everyone was blinded. Those who were the chunin and jonin and the Hokage and Anbu were all able to see quickly, though most of the civilians and genin were blinded for a few moments. Neji, who had been closest to it, was blind for even longer, and it was this that caused him some problem. Neji heard a gasp from everyone and did the only thing he could do to make sure he was safe and sent out a rotation. Little did he know it saved him a lot of pain, as a huge column of flame shot towards him and consumed his sphere of charca. When he was finally able to see again, he looked at what Naruto had done and almost felt his jaw drop in shock. Before him was a small red fox with 6 tails. He was on guard at once when he noticed the amount of flame the little creature had left. But then he smirked. "So that you think you can change your fate by changing your fate? If anything, this will make it easier to win." Naruto only looked at him before blurring out of sight. Everyone was shocked at the speed Naruto used. Neji, not prepared for it, took a hit before he was able to force Naruto to dodge from one of his strikes. Neji at this point was worried, since his eye could not see the charca point on Naruto, but a weird energy that now ran through his body. As he watched, Naruto's speed shot up even more. Leave after images too. Everyone, but how this is not possible, he is fated to lose. Because I never let fate rule my life, because if I had I would have never been able to pass the academy since I always failed at one just you and that was the clone. Justu. Neji and most of the people heard, now it is time to finish this. Neji stared at him before responding, you can try but you will still not win because it is your fate. Neji charged forward striking at one of the images but hit nothing. Naruto, who had been standing right behind Neji, stopped the double team move he had been using and powered up his most powerful attack, Fire Spin. Neji, noticing that Naruto was behind him, turned and ran towards him, but he was forced to fire off another rotation as a flame shot towards him, but instead of hitting the sphere of Charka and passing by Chi started to spin more and more around him, then realized that his rotation could not do this, but it was not stopping the move either. In fact, it was helping the move maintain itself. Naruto, once he had fired off the move and made it was going for sure, allowed himself to return to his normal form to watch and see. When Neji was forced to give in, everyone was shocked at the sheer size of the flaming tornado. When it finally faded away, they saw Neji still standing but very tired out as Naruto, who had taken human form, walked over. Now it is over, said Naruto as he sent a punch at the still tired Neji and knocked him to the ground and pulled out a kunai and brought it down towards his heart, only to stop right before it touched him. You said I was fated to lose and I won. I guess fate was wrong again. With that, Naruto put the kunai back into its pouch before walking away as Genma came over and announces Naruto as the winner. One by one the people in the stadium broke from shock into aplau. Say as Naruto walked out into the contestant stand. While the Sarutobi smiled, and won again. Naruto, you have shown the world there is nothing you cannot do. Chapter 3. Chapter 3. The fights continue. Thinking. Justu talking. Naruto had moved up to the contestants' box, as the people of the village talked about the match. Some were calling for the demon's death, while others were wondering how to use him. Some were in shock while others were smiling and grinning at the young genin that in their eyes should be chunin. Shikamaru looked over at Naruto as he entered into the box. Figures you are going to be troublesome without even trying, he said to Naruto. Naruto just rolled his eyes and walked over the railing next to Shikamaru. Yeah, but it is those people who have to deal with life, since I am a ninja they cannot do anything to me unless the Hokage give the okay, he said smirking. Genma in the meantime was down in the stadium calling for Sasuke and Gaara down so that their fight could begin. Gaara disappeared down the stairs and appeared out in the stadium, but nothing was seen of Sasuke or Kakashi. The Hokage though had just received a massage that there was no sign of Kakashi or Asuke, so with some quick thought he decided they would postpone the match, seeing there were a lot of people here to see the so-called last Uchiha, but Sasuke would not be allowed to become a chunin. He massager was sent down to Genma to make the announcement. It seems since Sasuke Uchiha we will be postponing his match until later, though because of this he will not become a chunin. In the mean time will Kankuro and Shino come down so we may start the next match. As Genma finished, Gaara muttered something before disappearing into a pillar of sand and reappeared in the contestant box. There as a lot of muttering about this since some had only come to see what the last Uchiha had to offer. But since nothing could be done as of right now, so they ended up having to sit and wait. Though once again everyone was disappointed as Kankuro called out he did not wish to fight and forfeited. Shino looked over at the puppet user wondering what he was thinking, when Genma called for Shikamaru and Temari to come down for the next round. Naruto noticed Shikamaru was about to give up, so he decided to get him some motivation and hit Shikamaru on the shoulder with enough force to send him flying into the stadium below. Shikamaru was able to land and looked up at Naruto with a look that promised pain later. Naruto just waved him off and pointed towards Temari, who had just landed in the stadium. ND was yelling him to get into the fight before it started. Shikamaru walked to the center of the area and looked over at Temari, as Genma started the match, jumping away quickly again. At first neither of the combatants moved, then without warning Temari swung her fan, revealing all three moons and sending a wall of wind towards Shikamaru. Shikamaru decided to use this and jumped into it, shocking everyone, including Temari, which gave him enough time to ride the air current to the outside walls. Looking around, he started to think of a way to win or at least tie this match as he dodged more wind attacks from Temari and her fan. Up in the stand many people were trying to decide who would win and most bets were going to Temari, who it seemed to have Shikamaru on the ropes with her wind attacks. But to those that knew Shikamaru, they knew he was only testing her. Tamari after a little bit yelled at Shikamaru to attack her. Her answer was his shadow shooting towards her at a high speed. This caused her to stop her attack and jump back in order to avoid the shadow. She jumped back again as the shadow kept coming and again to dodge it a final time before it came to a stop 3 feet from her. The shadow retreated back to Shikamaru. As that happened, Tamari decided to mark the farthest point at which the shadow could react. Shikamaru watched her with a bored look on his face before he looked up at the clouds thinking. Tamari got mad at this and sung her fan, sending another wall of wind at him to remind him who her opponent was. But when the blast of wind hit him, it did not even seem to affect him at all other than ruffle his hair. She realized that right then without using any just he was out of her range, and that the wind made by her fan would do little more than feel like a strong wind gust to him. Shikamaru in the meantime had come up with a simple plan to beat her and set it into motion at once. Sending his shadow out to catch her again, she noticed it and merely stepped past the line she had made before. But the shadow shot clean past the line and kept coming even further than before. This forced her to jump back once more. She saw it stop a mere inch from her feet. She was about to start a just so she could actually hit Shikamaru when she realized her hands were being forced into a hand sign. She tried moving, but for some reason she could not. When she heard Shikamaru speak, shadow possession successful. But how did you get me? She said, trying to look around. Take a look to your left and don't worry, I will let you, said Shikamaru, looking very amused. Tamari looked over left and noticed a large shadow. She quickly looked up and noticed that there was a large cloud over their head. As she watched, the entire area was covered in a shadow from the cloud. So you got me thanks to the clouds. Shikamaru smirked and nodded before pulling out a kunai and slowly took aim. Now if I were you, I would forfeit before I decide to throw this at you, because it seems innately for you your kunai pouch is on your other leg, so you have nothing to block against this attack. Tamari could not believe it. Here she was stuck, unable to move and forced to quit or be killed by a lazy shadow user. But before she could answer, Genma moved into the arena. It seems that Tamari can no longer fight and therefore it is Shikamaru who is the winner. Shikamaru merely let the just end and nodded before he walked back up to the contestant box. The audience clapped a little less at this battle since it overall was not as neat as the last one, but still likable. Once Tamari fought the field following Shikamaru back up, Genma called for Gaara and Sasuke to report at once to the arena so the fight may begin soon. Gaara once again walked down to the arena to wait for Sasuke. EY started to wait a little bit, and the longer it took, the more Gaara and his sand seemed to become more and more willing to attack anything around him. Finally, after 4 minutes, there was a swirl of leaves in the middle of the stadium as both Kakashi and Sasuke appear, with the second having sporting a new look. Kakashi nodded at Genma, saying something before disappearing in another swirl of leaves and reappeared next to the Hokage and said something to him too, before disappeared again. Down in the arena though, the battle had started with Sasuke using almost the same speed as Lee had before. But like before, it did not have as much as affect. It was thanks to his eyes he was still able to dodge the sand when it came at him. Up in the stands, Kakashi appeared next to Guy and Lee, who had been watching all the matches so far that day. Guy barely bothered to look over at him as he appeared. Late as always, Kakashi, but your hip attitude nearly made your student unable to complete as it is. He cannot become a chunin. Kakashi just nodded as he pulled out his book and started reading. I figured as much, but for once I was not the reason we were late. He was. It was something he needed to check in the clan library. And when I said he needed to hurry or else he would not make the third round, he just laughed, saying that they would wait for him. After all, he is the last Uchiha. Kakashi sighed and shook his head. So I see you are at least teaching him something, unlike your other students like say Naruto or Sakura, though what you're teaching him is using his eyes to steal moves. Kaka. She put his book away as he looked over at Guy. I was actually hoping to teach Naruto something, but the civilian council found a law that could be used to make me teach Emo down there. As for Sakura, I have tried 15 times to teach her, but her fangirl-like ways makes it hard to do that. Guy nodded as he saw Sasuke fight a clone of Gaara. How much longer will you keep doing that? Because I know for one Naruto is quite mad at you. I plan on telling Naruto right after this exam comes to it close, which reminds me, how did his fight go? Kakashi asked, wondering. Guy took a few moments trying to find a way to explain what had happened, before he took Kakashi everything he had seen and heard. Once he was done, Kakashi was just staring at him in shock, saying, "You joking, right?" Guy shook his head. No. This is one of those times even I was a little shocked at what I saw. What I am wondering at though is who taught him this new just you. Kakashi slowly regained his composure. This is interesting to say the least. I wonder, but Kakashi's sentence was cut short as heard what sounded like 1,000 bird. Guy looked down into the arena at the sound of the noise. Why did you teach him that move? You know he is too unstable to teach it to him. I know, but against Gaara I felt it was the only move he could use safely against him. There was a cry of Chidori from Sasuke as he shot forward. As fast as he could towards that sphere of sand that Gaara had made around himself. He was forced to dodge some sharp spikes that came out the sphere, but thanks to Sasuke's eyes he was able to dodge the spikes and send his attack right into the sphere. All fell quiet, and then throughout the stands they heard a cry from inside the sphere of sand. Blood, this is my blood. Sasuke sensed something and pulled back his hand, but only to notice it was stuck. Quickly he reactivated the Chidori, and thanks to that he was able to pull his hand out. There was a blast of charka from the sphere that reminded many of the ninja around the area of when the Kyuubi had attacked the village 12 years ago. Sasuke was forced to jump back as a giant claw made of sand came out of the hole made in the sphere. Everyone as the claw disappeared back into the hole, then without warning the entire sphere dissolved and fell to the ground. Gaara was slowly revealed in the falling sand, one hand on the wound cover it, as he leveled a glare at Sasuke. But before either of the two combatants could move there was an explosion up in the Hokage's box. This caused many people to look up away from the fight. In the meantime, someone had activated a genjutsu over the entire arena. The many ninja in the arena dispelled the just you around them as one thought flashed through all their minds at the same time: they need to stop any harm to the village because it seems they were being attacked. Chapter 4. Chapter 4: The Invasion. Speaking, Justu. Thinking. Demon speaking. Naruto and the other genin around him retreated once up to where Kakashi and Guy were fighting. Kakashi looked over at the genin who come Shikamaru, Naruto, and Shino. Looking around he found one more genin that would be of help to the group. Kiba and his dog Akamaru were nearby. Calling them together he spoke to them quickly. I noticed that Sasuke had gone and followed this sand genin when they went and grabbed Gaara retreating. I need you to go and bring him back, and if needed take out those sand ninja. Kakashi's voice held no argument tone in it. Kiba, you will lead as you can track better than anyone else here. Naruto, you will follow then. Shikamaru, you and Shino will take the rear covering them. Now get moving and get the job done. The four genin nodded before taking off. Some sound ninja moved in to attack them, but Guy and Kakashi oyed them, leaving the genin a straight shot out of the field. Kakashi nodded at Guy and they let loss. Guy removed his weights while Kakashi reviewed his Sharingan. This time there was no holding back on the defending their village. The four genin moved rapidly along the path. The Kiba and Akamaru led them, but as they moved Shino spoke up. We have a group following us, I would say 9 ninja and 1 lookout. Naruto looked at the bug user. So we have 10 people following us. Can you tell me what level they are at? Shino shook his head. No, not from here, but I can tell they have at least chunin level charka. Shikamaru started to think as he heard this and spoke up. I will stay, I can take them on if I am careful and buy you some time. Naruto looked back at Shikamaru. Are you sure you can handle all of them? Yeah, plus if they are any good they will be catching up to us soon, and you 3 need to keep going since you might have to face Kankuro and Temari. Naruto sighed. Fine, but you better live through this. Shikamaru just nodded and stopped to set up a trap that he hoped would work. Naruto and his group moved on with all the speed they could, hoping to get to Sasuke fast. Slow. They came across what looked like to be a small battle, but not finding anyone they moved on quickly, catching up to Temari who was tied to a tree by Sasuke. Naruto told them to move on as he left a clone that would untie her and then bring her back to the village. As they moved further they saw Sasuke facing down the puppet user while Gaara seemed to sit muttering something while they fought. Kiba and Shino at once jumped in and to help fight Kankuro. Sasuke noticing this jumped and went straight for Gaara hoping to finish the fight. Gaara noticing this disappeared in a swirl of sand and retreated further, not ready to fight just yet. Sasuke, not willing to let Gaara get away from him, took off to continue the fight. Naruto went to take off after Sasuke, but Kankuro blocked his path. "No, you can fight me for now." Shino and Kiba landed on either side of Naruto staring at Kankuro. Shino decided to speak then. "I will fight him since I never had my change in the arena." Naruto and Kiba nodded, taking before taking off through the trees again. Kankuro moved to spot then but was forced to dodge out of the way, thanks to Shino who had sent a wall of bugs at him. "You fight as with me, puppet user." Kankuro knew that he would have to put his attention on Shino or else he would lose this fight. He only hoped Gaara recovered fast enough to keep fighting, and soon Kiba and Akamaru were able to track both Gaara and Sasuke easy as they and Naruto followed them through the forest. As they got closer though, they heard the signs of a battle going on. As they appeared at an edge of a clearing, they saw a fight that was become very much one-sided. Gaara's sand hand cover most of his upper body. This was giving him more power and abilities to attack with, forcing Sasuke strongly onto the defensive. Naruto made clone quickly and had it replace itself with Sasuke, as quickly as he could. Sasuke looked around in shock, noticing he had moved before. He growled at Naruto, "Why did you pull me out of that fight? I can win it. Kakashi has ordered us to retrieve you and return you back to the village." Naruto stated. "And if I don't comply?" Sasuke asked. "I will knock you out and make sure Gaara does not get us during the retreat," Naruto said. Sasuke just laughed at Naruto and Kiba. "You both are too weak to even touch me. As for this loser, I can beat him just fine. After all, I am a Uchiha now. Leave so I may finish my battle." Quote. Kiba looked angry at Sasuke, but before any more was said they were all forced to dodge out of the way as a claw made of sand shot through where they had been standing before. Naruto looked over at Gaara and knew they would have to fight him and beat him or else they would not get away. Acting quickly, he made a clone that was able to knock Sasuke out with chop to the neck. Looking at Kiba, he yelled, "Get yourself, Akamaru and Sasuke out of here. The clone will carry him, so get moving and don't look back." "What about you?" Kiba yelled back as he jumped over to Naruto clone. "I can take on Gaara just fine, but if you or anyone else is around, I might will have to worry about you getting caught in the crossfire. Now leave." Naruto yelled back as he made some clones to deal with Gaara. Kiba, realizing that he could not really help other than getting Sasuke out of there, so yelling back that he was on his way out, he grabbed Akamaru and took off through the trees. Gaara, on the other hand, was not happy that Genin had taken away his prey and for that he was going to die. But no matter what Gaara tried, he could not pin Naruto down. He kept hitting clones or log whenever he got close. He started drawing on his demon's power more, changing him more. Finally he got fed up with this pest and decided he was going to get him one way or another. Naruto watched as Gaara got angrier and then without warning Gaara sent out a huge wall of sand in all directions. Naruto realized that he had to summon or change, if not he was going to be crushed by the sand waves soon. Jumping into the air, he went through a few quick hand signs before there was a plume of smoke appeared under him, quite large. Summon Jutsu. As the smoke disappeared below Naruto, there were three creatures reviewed. They were orange color and dragon-like in shape. On their tail was a flame that blazed. Naruto landing on the middle one of them as they took wing above Gaara, looking down. Naruto noticed Gaara had not seen him just yet. Naruto smiled and gave the order. The Charizard that he had summoned spilled up. As Gaara spotted him, the Charizard he was riding sent down a large stream of flame, forcing Gaara to block with his arm. Gaara, hearing a roar behind him, used his tail to block more flame. Thanks to the heat, his sand was turning slowly to molten rock, causing him to lose ore and more of the outside of his armor. Naruto smirked as the Charizard kept Gaara busy defending himself. Quickly he jumped down. Landing, he went through the hand signs again. He summoned a large blue-colored duck-like creature, with claws on its hands and feet and a ruble-like gem on its head. Naruto nodded at the creature. "Golduck, okay Golduck, use Ice Beam and freeze that molten rock." Gull. Duck opened mouth and shot out a power beam that hit the molten sand, changing it to glass and freezing Gaara in place. Naruto jumped over to where Gaara was. "It is over, your sand is melted or frozen in place." It would be pointless for this to continue. Gaara only glared at Naruto. Pointless. My whole point in life is to fight and destroy those who are strong to prove my existence, and you will not end that now or ever. Naruto felt Gaara Charka spike. Quickly he jumped from tree to tree until he was a few hundred feet away from Gaara. Dismissing the summons, he watched as the sand shot up from the ground around Gaara, slowly forming into a huge raccoon-like shape. Naruto knew that he was at a disadvantage looking up at the huge creature that was forming. "Where are you, Naruto, so I can give your blood to my mother?" Gaara yelled over, his voice completely changed thanks to his demon's power. Naruto looked up from where he was summoning over 1,000 clones. He sent them forward to attack the massive sand creature. Two stayed behind, and with their hope he got every high air going through the summon just you hand signs again. Summon just to the 3 legendary birds. Naruto smirked now as Gaara finished dealing with the clones. With these summons the odds were back in his favor. Below him appeared 3 birds. The one to the right of Naruto was ocean blue in color with a long flowing tail. The second, that was yellow in color with black feathers at the end of its wings. Its feathers were long and pointed, and its beak was long and pointed. The last was on Naruto left and orange in color. Its feathers and tail feathers were like flames flowing behind it. Naruto landed on the middle on Zapdos. Quickly he sent out both Articuno and Moltres. Moltres sending down a rain of fire, melting a lot of the sand, then Articuno destroying the molten sand with power ice attacks. Naruto in the meantime watched, directed Zapdos around, sending in bolts of lightning into the creature, turning parts of it into solid glass in an instant. Gaara could barely keep up with 3 birds as they rained down powerful attacks onto his sand creature. In short, Gaara was running out of potions to fight these creatures. They were too fast for him to keep up. He knew that if he tried to release his demon full power into this creature he would be hit by one of those attacks. In short, he was running out of idea and options fast. Naruto looked down where Gaara was hiding in the sand creature. He knew that even if he kept this up he would kill Gaara. As Zapdos flew over where Gaara now stood, review within the sand, Anding by Gaara, he threw a strong punch that sent Gaara clean out of where he was and away from the sand. Naruto jumped up and pulled Gaara onto one of the birds away from all the sand he could control. Quickly Naruto had Moltres land where Naruto set Gaara down. Gaara looked up at Naruto completely defenseless for the first time in his life. Naruto looked at Gaara, that for once in his life was looking scared for the first time since he had seen him. Naruto ran through some quick hand signs. White flames formed on his fingers. Slamming his hand into Gaara's chest, he sealed the demon Charka away for good. Naruto smiled. It was done. He had beaten Gaara and stopped part of this war. This was his last thought before he fell over unconscious. I am not sure how well I did, but I almost feel like I am making Naruto too powerful, but I am trying, so please tell me what you think. 3. Chapter 5. Chapter 5. Jiraiya the Sannin, talking just to thinking. Sadness, that is what most people felt on day after the attack on the village hidden in the leaves. Not long after breakfast it had started raining as the news the Hokage had died speared throughout the town. A funeral was set for the next day as PLE started rebuilding their village, though they were lucky that only a small part of the village had been hit by the summoned snakes that had attacked in the invasion. Naruto walked through the groups of people that hurried to repair or clear out one thing or another. He had just found out what had happened and he felt almost dead inside. The first person who actually cared about him was dead. He never spoke to many people about it, but anyone who really knew Naruto knew that the Hokage was like a grandfather to Naruto. On the day of the funeral it was set up in front of the Hokage's tower. Many people slowly passed by. Everyone carried with them a black rose before they sat it down on the growing stack of roses set down the people before them. It lasted most of the day and never once stopped raining till nightfall. Most ninjas said the sky was crying the tears they were not allowed to show. Up in the Hokage's tower a meeting was taking place on who the next Hokage would be. Most people were choosing between Jiraiya and Tsunade. Danzo had his name come up, but he said he would not take it unless there was no other chose. Not long later they decided that Jiraiya's spy network was worth too much to just give up without a way to keep it going. So that meant that was Tsunade going to be the next Hokage. Then not longer they decided to send Jiraiya to go and bring her back. It was Long later that everyone left the council room and went their own ways, while a ninja had been sent to Jiraiya but his new mission. Naruto through all of this was staying home. He had gone to the fun Errol very before it had started and dropped of his flowers. He then went back to his apartment and slowly started to work on a seal. He wanted a way to replenish his chakra, after he summoned something powerful. Fast or else he would most likely faint like last time. As it came around to dinner time he heard a knock at the door. Getting up from where he was sitting at his desk he went over and carefully opened the door. Outside he saw an odd-looking old man. He had on grayish shirt and pants with a red vest. His hair was white and reacted down to the middle of his back, and instead of a normal H band he had one with a kanji for oil on it. "What do you want?" Naruto asked. "Well, young one, I am looking for a kid named Naruto since I want to bring him on a mission." The old man answered looking at Naruto. "And who are you and why should I go on a mission with you?" "Well, I am Jiraiya the Great Toad Saga. As for why I am here is it because I need you to help me get Tsunade and bring her to this village, to become the next Hokage." Quote, "No," Naruto said before closing the door to his apartment and going back to work on the seal. Jiraiya just stared at the closed door in shock. He never would have thought a genin would say no to him. Sighing, he knew he would have to give Naruto something or else he would not be able to get the help he needed. Opening the door he entered into the apartment and saw Naruto sitting at a large wooden desk working on something. "What are you working on?" asked Jiraiya. "Did I say you could come in?" Naruto said, turning and glaring at the Toad Saga. "No, but I am not one to give up that fast." "So what are you working on?" he asked again. Naruto signing turned back to the seals he was working on. "I am trying to make a good seal that can store half if not more of the chakra my body can hold. So when I end my more powerful summons I don't faint because I am running too low on chakra." "You have summons, kid." "Yes, and my powerful ones require I keep using Arca to keep them out, which means I can start running very low on chakra if I am in a long battle." "I find this hard to believe that old man Hokage said you have enough chakra to outlast even him. He also said your control could use some work." "Yeah, I know, not let me be so I can work on the seal, then I will work on my control. There is no seal that has been able to do that. I should know, I am a seal master. But I can help you find things that will work the same way if you wish," Jiraiya said, trying to think of a way to have Naruto want to come with him. Naruto looked up from the papers he was working with. "If what you say is true, then what can I use to hold chakra?" "There are some crystals and types of tree that can hold chakra a lot once prepared correctly," Jiraiya answered, pulling out what looked like to be a red ruby that was a little smaller than his fist. "This is a chakra gem. Once it has been forged correctly will hold up to a cage level of chakra." Naruto looked at the gem carefully in Jiraiya's hand. Overall it looked like any other ruby except it had a seal on one side with a kanji for chakra on it. "I see, in that case I guess I will help you if you help me get or make 2 of these stones," Naruto said, thinking about what he could do with the stones. "2? Do you have any idea what these cost?" Jiraiya spurted out, looking at the genin in shock. "Yes, 2, and that is the only way I will go," Naruto said before he got up and went for the door to start training on getting his chakra control even better. He had some idea and he had got a book from the ninja library so he would be able to get it as high as he wanted. "Hey, wait, I cannot get you 2 of them, but I can get you 1 and teach you another, just you," Jiraiya said, going after Naruto, still trying to get him to come with him. "What is the just you?" asked Naruto with some interest, slowing down and looking at Jiraiya. "And I had better be good or else it is still a no." "It is one of the 4th Hokage's just you," Jiraiya said, smiling, thinking he had got Naruto. "No," Naruto said as he picked up speed to his normal walking speed. "I would rather not have another reason for the village to hate me by using the 4th Hokage's move." Naruto on the inside was hoping he could learn them, and why he would allow to be taught even one of them. Jiraiya was in a hard spot. He could not tell Naruto who his dad was unless he was a jonin. But he still needed to have Naruto come with him. Thinking quickly, he came up with an idea that might work. "Because I am willing to take you as my apprentice, and since I taught the 4th, I am allowed to teach it to you." It took all of Naruto willpower to not stop in middle step looking at Jiraiya, and that make a difference because it might change how the village views you, by you being my student. Jiraiya said, hoping to get some form of a yes out of Naruto. Naruto smirked to himself. He was getting something good out of this if he did it right. Fine, I guess I will go and learn the just you. But you better get me a good Charka gem while we are on this trip and not after. Also, I want one that can hold a cage's level of Charka, or else it is useless to me. Fine, kid. Now hurry up and get packed so we can move out. Jiraiya said, giving Naruto a light glare, though it was no good since Naruto was not looking at him. Naruto turned towards Jiraiya smiling. Okay, I am already packed up. Naruto pulled out a storage scroll, with a kanji for mission written on it. Fine then, let's get going before I think about leaving you here. Naruto nodded before Makin, a clone that ran off to Naruto house to make sure everything was locked up tight. As Naruto and Jiraiya left the village, Naruto looked over at Jiraiya. So what is the just you are going to be teaching me? Now it was Jiraiya turn to smirked. It is the simpler of the two just you he made, the Rasengan. Holding out his hand, his Charka slowly formed in a ball floating about an inch above his palm. Walking over to a tree, he slammed the ball of now swirling ball of Charka into a tree. Naruto watched closely as the small maelstrom of Charka ground into the tree, carving a small hole into it. Then Jiraiya unleashed the ball, making it explode outward, destroying the tree and the 110 feet behind it with the force of the blast. Naruto's face showed onto shock as he stared at the damage that been caused by the fist-size ball of Charka. Wow. Now before I teach you how to use this move, I want you to tell me about these summonses you can use and why you need a Charka gem. Jiraiya said, not wanting to let Naruto have his entire way about this. Fine, I guess I owe you that much since you are helping me, Naruto said before he launched off into an explanation about the Pokemon summons he could use. It was about an hour later was they traveled down the road that Naruto finished. I have only mastered 180 of the 648 different from there are out there. Also I have summoned each of these. And worked with them, though for some of the bigger ones I had to head behind the Hokage's mountain and out of sight so I could train with the bigger ones. I see that is a lot to take in, but Thrug. All of this you have not told me where the contract is now nor who is the boss summoning of this contract. Jiraiya said, thinking over all Naruto was learning and could possibly do with a contract like he had now. I keep the contract with me at all times, though even if someone else signed it, I doubt the boss would let them use it at all. Oh, and what makes you so different? It is because who I am. Naruto said before biting his thumb and drawing a little bit of blood. I am not going to tell you, I am going to show you. And before Jiraiya could stop him, he slammed his hands down onto the group, causing a summon seal to appear. Then with a burst of smoke from it caused Jiraiya to jump back as it got bigger and then stopped when it was huge. A breeze came up at that moment, moving the smoke away, reviewing something Jiraiya wished he would never see again. Kyuubi, the nine-tailed demon fox, was standing looking at him, and Jiraiya was the only one that could stop it, since it seemed the nine-tailed fox was free again. Yep, the 5 chapter 3. I hope you all like, because I am not sure if I will continue this story, but for right now I will just cut back a little bit on how much I type for it. As always, please review, it helps to keep the stories going. Espo. Chapter 6. Chapter 6, Traveling, Talking, Thinking. Demon Talk. Jiraiya looked on as Kyuubi slowly raised itself to its full height. Even it was not its full size, it still stood over 3 stories tall. Looking around, he could not see Naruto everywhere, and he realized one thing: if Kyuubi was really free and even a ninth of its full power, he was dead. Well, human, it seems you are my jailer's teacher. It is nice to meet you. Though I think you would be a better meal than a teacher. Kyuubi licked its lips, hunger looking at Jiraiya. Now tell me something. What are your plans for the boy? Jiraiya gulped, looking of the demon fox. To train him like I should have when he was younger. Oh, I see, and why should you have been training him when he was younger? Asked Kyuubi, staring at Jiraiya. Jiraiya looked like he did not want to answer in any way, but with Kyuubi staring him down there was not much he could in keeping quiet. That is not something I can review right now. As you wish, but that means I have to force it out of you. Kyuubi then shot forward to attack Jiraiya. Jiraiya jumped back as far as he could, but he knew he was not going to be able to run away. 1-ton body slam. Naruto's voice seemed to come out of nowhere and a blue animal appeared above where Kyuubi was going to head and fell onto the ground. Gee, Raya watched in shock as the creature created a dust cloud from the impact before standing up and walked out of it with Naruto standing on its shoulder. Naruto jumped to the ground and dismissed the sea Reacher before Jiraiya could have a good look at it. Now tell me Kyuubi what I said you were allowed to do when you were out, Head said looking at Kyuubi with a light glare. That I am never allowed to be seen or attack anyone. Unless you summon me in front of them or you ordered me to attack, Kyuubi replied settling down onto the ground. Good, now obey those rules and we will not have any problems. Naruto said back towards Jiraiya with a glare a lot like Kyuubi had not too long ago. Though it seems that Kyuubi here has a very good point, why should you have already been training me? I cannot tell you that right now. Unless you are Jonin level 1 cannot tell you just yet, Jiraiya said not liking where this was going. As you wish, but you better let me know as soon I am there. Now NTO the original question Kyuubi here is the boss summon of the Pokemon summon contract. Naruto said looking at Jiraiya with a bored look. Yes, I was original from a different universe and after AC. From my own kind messed up I was sent here. As the years passed I gained more power thanks to the curse and became the creature you know today. During the last few years before the attack I set together a summon scroll that Naruto now has, and once it was done I started looking for a summoned. But before I could find a summoner, someone found me and head back to your village, which is why I attacked it. Kyuubi explaining about him and his contract. That explains something about your attack, Jiraiya said. Yes, and while are walking you can walk around until we get somewhere for tonight. Naruto added decreasing the amount of charca Kyuubi had shrinking it. When Kyuubi's size was a little larger than a tiger Kyuubi left. Now that is over I think you have one thing left to tell me. Jiraiya stated as he started down the road for the next town again. Yes I know, and actually it is two things. The first of which is Kyuubi will not hurt anyone in that from because when he disappears I can see his memories and if he does hurt anyone he will not be coming out for a very long time. The second thing is the charca gems, my summons are not normal. Simply as long as my summons are out I have to use charca to keep them out. This does not affect me unless it is on the higher level ones which can drain me of all my charca even. If Kyuubi is right I have barely tapped the high level summons. If I am right I have only touched one and that one drained me of my charca in roughly 6 minutes. That much charca? Jiraiya stopped in his tracks completely staring at Naruto in shock, but if what the old man said was right you have enough charca to beat him 7 times over if not more. Naruto nodded, yes I know, but it still uses up my charca that fast, so I need these gems to make sure I keep it out longer. Also charca control does not help much in summoning because the charca the Pokemon uses is always a set amount. I see, but if I may ask how much power does the most powerful summon have? Jiraiya slowly got over his shock and stated walking again. Well, truth is, I am not sure, but the one I summoned that is on level with it could destroy the Leaf Village in under a minute. Kyuubi though if I could ever fully summon him would not be as powerful as it. I see that as powerful. What are the Pokemon names? Arceus and Mew. Arceus is considered the god of the Pokemon, while Mew is said to be the creator of all the Pokemon. Naruto and Jiraiya kept talking a little bit after that, but soon they fell silent. About when they reached the halfway point of the journey Jiraiya pulled, out of a seal, a water-filled balloon and started to show Naruto the first step to the Rasengan. As they got into the town Naruto could still not pop it correctly, Jiraiya got them a hotel to stay in before heading out into town to do some research. Naruto decided to stay and work on the Rasengan some more until he got the first stage down. By the time Jiraiya got back he had mastered it. ND made the ball exploded with a violent blast. The next day they left and headed towards a more gambling-based town. Jiraiya decided to teach Naruto the next part to the Rasengan which was Power and Ma. King a rubber ball explode like he did the water balloon. As they got into the next town Jiraiya found a beautiful lady after they had booked a room at another hotel. Naruto sighed and went to his IR room and started to work on the second stage of the Rasengan again. Hearing a knock at the door stopped what he was doing. Opening the door he looked and saw the last person he very thought he see again for a long time. Itachi ni-san, what are you doing here? Chapter 7. Chapter 7. Aren't you my brother? Talking. Thinking. The person behind Itachi was surprised by this, as far as he knew. I had only one brother and this kid sure was not it. He looked at the kid and realized by the look in his eye that they were not brother in the senses of blood but in bond. Itachi ni-san, what are you doing here? Naruto asked again. What was not commonly known was that Naruto knew the real reason. Itachi had killed all of the Uchiha clan, and was in agreement with the reason though not the killing. We are here for what is sealed in you, Naruto, so if you come with us we will not have to knock you out. Itachi said in a perfect monotone voice, though he could not look Naruto in the eye. Why do you need the fuzz ball? Naruto asked, backing up. It is our orders, kid, the large man next to Itachi answered. Naruto looked over at him. Like Itachi, he was wearing a black robe with blood-red clouds all over it. His skin was blue in color and his teeth had a shark-like appearance, and on his back was a large sword or possibly a club wrapped in cloth. Naruto sighed. He had hoped that once Itachi had left the village he would find a place to settle down. Flashback 7 years ago. Naruto was sitting in his favorite spot on the Hokage mountain, and was looking over the village as the sun set. Then from behind him he heard a rock move slightly, so turning around he noticed an Anbu towards him. The mask that the ninja wearing was one that Naruto knew very well. After all, this same Anbu was his brother in bond. He called over to him, Itachi ni-san, what are you doing up here so late? The Anbu slowly walked over to Naruto, and took off his mask, reviewing himself to truly be Itachi. To come here and think, and pray. Why is that, big brother? I have just come from seeing the Hokage and, well, my clan is causing a lot of problems. What kind of problems? That is not something you should worry yourself over, Naruto. Though at this Itachi turned away and looked over the village to where his clan was located. Yes, it does, I can tell. So tell me what is going on, Naruto said, getting up and coming over to Itachi and gave him a hug. Itachi stiffened slightly, then hugged back. Fine, though you won't like it. He took a few moments to collect his thoughts before he spoke. Okay. In short, my clan is thinking about overthrowing the current Hokage and taking control of the village for themselves. But why would they do that? Asked Naruto in shock. Truth is, I don't see a reason for it. But the most of the clan has thought for the longest time we should lead. And with how weak the village is right now, they see a very good time to try and take over. So with this possibly happening, the Hokage think you might need to stop them then, Naruto stated, more than asked. Yes, right now we are trying to do it by talking with my clan, but it is not working out like the Hokage hoped. So what happens to you if you have to kill the clan? Naruto asked quietly. Why do you think I would have to kill the clan? Asked Itachi, a little shocked that Naruto would jump to such an idea, even it was true. Because this is a ninja village and all who betray the village must die. I know because I have read through the laws during the nights I spend in the Hokage's tower. And it says that depending on what is done to disobey the will of the Hokage, that will dictate what happens to that person, Itachi finished. Naruto nodded. If it must come to that, I guess it will. But death is something that should never be taken lightly. Itachi looked at the young boy with sadness, for Naruto had many attacks on him which caused Naruto to be like this at time. Itachi sighed. Hen looked back over the village as they both fell quiet until the sun had completely set. As Naruto got up and left, he turned towards Itachi, who was still sitting, and spoke one last time before he left for his new apartment. Itachi, if you do have to kill your clan, I hope you can hide some safe place to live after you are forced to leave. End of flashback. Naruto looked at Itachi again and his partner and shook his head. Well, it seems like I will have to fight you, though that is something I would rather avoid. Naruto got into a stance, but Itachi was not about to let this fight happen, at least if he could help it. He closed his eye for a second, then opened them again, reviewing not his normal coal black eyes, but red eyes with a black pinwheel-like shape in the middle that slowly spun. Tsukuyomi, he said as looked Naruto in the eyes. At once Naruto world faded to black, and when he opened his eyes he saw a very weird world. Everything was in colors or red or black. He looked around and noticed that Itachi was standing across from him. Naruto tried to move but found that he was tied to a huge cross by some chains around his arms and legs. Naruto, I do not wish to harm you, but I fear I must in order to save you. Itachi said, looked as sad as he did the day Naruto and he last talked. That was the same day Itachi was ordered to kill his entire clan. Why are you doing this, Itachi? Naruto asked, looking at Itachi. I cannot tell you this, but if you can get your traveling companion to talk on it, he will let you know. Jiraiya. Itachi did not answer, only nodded. Now I am going to hurt you, Naruto. For this, just to let me into your mind so I can attack it straight out. Naruto faced at once turned to a smirk, seeing this causing Itachi to wonder why Naruto was smirking. That is until Naruto spoke. I see now, this is a genjutsu and a powerful one at that, but you forgot that since this is my mind I can control it. But if that ability has been stopped, I still have one other defense that you cannot fight or can you overpower. Kyuubi, get him. Itachi realized his mistake quickly and tried to end his just you, but it seemed that the fox was not going to let him go that easy. Four tails shoot out of nowhere and started to swing at Itachi with enough power to leave the Hokage mountain if they hit. Though thanks to his years of training he was barely able to dodge them all. The fight continued for a while until without a reason the attacks stopped. Looking around he noticed the tails had only stopped moved, and the reason they had was Kyuubi himself was now around, and at his feet stood Naruto. Naruto, who was standing looking at Itachi carefully before he nodded. Itachi, my brother, leave now or else you will not live, for as much as I love you I cannot let you hurt your own family again. Itachi could not help but flinched at the cold words that came from Naruto's mouth, but he knew Naruto had his reason. He quickly formed a seal with one of his hands and ended the genjutsu. Kisame, Itachi's partner, on the other hand, was wondering what was going on. Since the genjutsu that Itachi just used only really took him 4 to 5 seconds at max, and it had been almost a minute already and neither the boy or Itachi had moved. Then Itachi stumbled back holding his left eye as Naruto started to move back again, not getting out of stance. Itachi, what happened? Asked Kisame. He used Kyuubi to break Tsukuyomi. I was barely able to break free before I got killed. Itachi stated as he leaned lightly against a wall. Come on, Itachi, you really should be more careful when using your eyes. Kisame said, drawing his sword, so he could fight since they were starting to run low on time. Brother, I knew I would find you here, a voice said from the end of the hallway. Eve. Ryon turned and saw Sasuke standing, his eye activated, reviewing the Sharingan with Takama in each eye. Now I will kill you like I swore I would do the day you killed our clan. With that, Sasuke NT threw some hand signs and held his hand out as a white ball of lighting formed in his hand, and then he charged toward Itachi. Chidori, he cried out as he moved as fast he could and still hold. Ing the ball of lighting, he shoved it towards Itachi in hopes to kill him, but at the last second Itachi moved and grabbed Sasuke's hand and sent it into the wall, blocking the attack. Sasuke, you are still weak, and at this rate you will never beat me. With that, Itachi broke Sasuke's wrist. Then with a kick sent Sasuke into the wall at the end of the hallway, before he appeared in front, and then doi ing some genjutsu that no one but Sasuke saw knocked him out with it. He then turned to Kisame and Naruto and noticed behind them now stood the one person that would make them flee, Jiraiya. Itachi KNEW. Even if he and Kisame were both fresh and ready for battle, they would still be only able to fight to a draw. Kisame, move now. Kisame, not waiting to find out why he said that, shot forward towards Itachi, not noticed as a ball of charca held in Jiraiya's hand shot through his head. Used to be. When he stood by Itachi, he turned back and noticed Jiraiya standing and looking at the both of them. Thanks, Itachi. I would prefer not to die just yet. Agreed, and as such we should leave now, unless we want to risk that chance. With that, the two ninja fell and disappeared from view. Jiraiya looked at unconscious Sasuke and then at a very sad Naruto and sighed, really, and it is Tsunade that has the bad luck, not me. Chapter 8. The Slug Sanin Tsunade, talking. Jiraiya day improved. A little after Itachi and Kisame had left, Guy had shown up and had taken the unconscious Sasuke back to the Leaf Village. During that night, Jiraiya watched Naruto closely, since Naruto had not been quiet acting like himself ever since Itachi had left. Finally, Jiraiya could not stand it anymore and asked, Naruto, what is bugging you so much? Naruto looked over at him, then back at the wall of their still intact room. Itachi ni-san is hurting again. Itachi ni-san, he is your brother. But how I know for a fact you are not related to him? Jiraiya said, looking at Naruto closely. During my first years free of that hell of an orphanage, he took care of me, he was my protector. After one of his worst missions he had been watching me, and I had gone up and talked to him. One thing slowly led to the next and we slowly became friend, and then brothers. He would talk to me about anything, even some of his missions, while I would play with him, cheer him up. So in short, you two had come to trust each other. Then when he killed his family, you knew the reason, I take it. Yes, I knew the real reason, given out by the Hokage and his advisors. After that I never saw him again, he left, fled. So he would be seen as the traitor and not his family. And now he is messed up in something worse and I fear for him, Naruto said, getting up and looking out the window. I see, but there is something else I senses, Jiraiya stated. Yes, he said, you knew what was going on and what he had gotten into. I would like to know, since it seems and involves me. Naruto turned back towards Jiraiya and stared at him with a level stare. That is something I would rather not review yet, since it is a very dangerous for him if he was ever discovered. Naruto shocked his head. I can already know that, and I still want to know. I need to know if it involves me in such a way that he had to hunt me down. Jiraiya looked at Naruto carefully. Fine, I will tell you, but not here. Once we are back in the Leaf Village and we have a new Hokage, I will tell you what I know. Naruto nodded. You better make good on that. After that, Naruto sat down on his bed and pulled out a rubber ball and started to work on the Rasengan again. Then next day Naruto and Jiraiya set out for town in search again. Naruto was working on the Rasengan most of the time. Naruto was almost done with the second set. He was able to make the ball burst correctly. It did not correctly. It only burst out the front, not all around, taking out the entire ball like as should have. They had been out searching for almost a week now. Each time they thought they were get close, it turned out the lead was Faker Tsunade, the woman they were looking for, had already left the day before. Then they finally came to a town known for its sake, and the large castle that had been built at the center. Tsunade was rumored to be there, but Naruto and Jiraiya were still skeptical, seeing how much they had been chasing her for the last few days. Naruto suggested they go and see the castle first and then look around the town. Jiraiya agreed, seeing as it was probably the best idea. So they set off. Naruto finally got the second step down, causing them to stop, as Jiraiya showed Naruto the final step of the Rasengan. That was control. He now had to use the first two steps and have them keep their shape in a small sphere. But as Naruto started acting for the first time, the ground under their feet shook. This caused them to look up and around and noticed a large snake standing up where the castle should be. Neither of them said a word and took off at top speed for the snake. Both knowing where a giant snake was, Orochimaru would be there too. But as they got halfway to the snake, it disappeared, meaning the snake Sannin was probably gone now, but they still did not slow down. As they landed where the castle had been, they started looking around for any sign of a fight. They found it. About 100 feet from where the castle stood, they found a few busted stone walls and a crater. While Naruto thought they might be from a just you, Jiraiya told him differently that these were signs of Tsunade. When Naruto asked how, Jiraiya only said she was known for her super strength. Naruto looked at Jiraiya carefully, then made a mental note to be more careful of the slug Sannin Tsunade. After that they started searching the town with renewed vigor, since Tsunade was still in the town not even an hour ago. At lunchtime Naruto stopped looking himself and instead sent out a large group clones to look in his place, while he worked on mastered the third step. He had thought about summoning out his Pokemon summons to help search, but in the end he decided not to, since they did not know the smell of Tsunade. He found it was that the third step was easier than he thought, but also harder too. He could quickly form the sphere with his Charka, but he had a hard time keeping the Charka in a spherical shape without it blowing up in his face. He was no using his second, had to try and maintain the shape correctly, but that meant he now had a problem if he got into a fight, since both of his hands were occupied with keeping the attack going. As the day slowly started to pass into night, Naruto started to wonder where Tsunade was. It was weird, since none of his clones or Jiraiya had seen any sign of her. As it slowly got later at night, Jiraiya went up and said they were going to find a place to eat. Naruto nodded, letting his most recent attempt at the Rasengan faded from his hand. They jumped down into the street from the rooftop they were on and entered into the pub that was below them. But as they entered into the pub, Jiraiya stopped in his tracks at once of the occupants, Tsunade and her helper Shizune were sitting in the pub already. Jiraiya then walked over. "Well, hello Tsunade, this is quick a surprise." "Well, I am on a mission to get you," Jiraiya said, sitting down at the table by what looked to be Tsunade's student. She was wearing a blue robe that covered her most of her body, and in her hands she held a small pig. "Because the third die, the old fool," Tsunade said, "bring a small dish of sake to her lips and take a small drink of it." "You knew how?" asked Jiraiya as Naruto sat down by him. "I don't need to tell you," Tsunade said, not looking at Jiraiya but at Naruto now. "By the way, who is the kid?" "Him. He is hopefully going to be my new student." "Why do you ask?" "No reason. I only was wondering." "Now why are you here? Though I can probably guess why," Tsunade said, taking another sip from her dish of sake. "In show, RT the third was going to retire after the chunin exams and pick you as his replacement, but he died, so the letter never got sent. I am here to bring you back," Jiraiya said, looking at Tsunade carefully. Hokage, you and the old man are both off your rockers. The job is a fool's job. Why didn't you take the job?" "Maybe we are, but you are more so, and I don't have anyone to replace me yet to take over my spy network." "I figured as much, and the answer is still no. Being the Hokage is still a fool's job, as I said before. Now get out." But before Jiraiya could reply, Naruto had enough. "Hey old hag, shut. Are you saying the third Hokage, your teacher, was a fool? So what if a brat? It is not like it matters to you now, does it?" Tsunade said with a smirk. Naruto then turned to Jiraiya. "Let's leave. It is pretty easy to see your old friend is not up to the job, let alone worth it. I can smell the amount of sake she has drank since I first entered this place. If we let a person like lead us, well, we would have a better chance with Orochimaru leading us than her." Jiraiya looked at Naruto in shock as he started to walk out the restaurant, only to stop and duck as Tsunade fist shot through where his head used to be. "Well, I am worse than that snake Orochimaru, am I?" Naruto nodded as he started walking again. "Yes, from what I see it is true. You think leading the village is a fool's job, which means you're spitting on the grave of your ancestors. You willing attack a genin of the leaf at an attack on your reputation, and you missed hitting said genin too. Which make me wonder if you are even worthy of the title Sannin, seeing as a genin, dodge your attack." Jiraiya sighed as he knew what Naruto was doing, but he just hoped it did not backfire on Naruto. Tsunade gla. Ri at the genin who was indeed destroying her reputation slowly with fact as she spoke up. "Fine kid, how about this, we fight and see who is really stronger." Naruto stopped at the door and looked back at Tsunade with a smirk on his face as he spoke. "Okay then, the rules. We fight until one cannot move, or would be dead. Everything is legal," Tsunade said, glare and Naruto, who was looking very smuggle indeed. "As you wish, I will be waiting outside," Naruto said before leaving, followed by Tsunade and Shizune. Jiraiya, seeing how this fight was going to end, quickly followed, hoping that Naruto would not die. As he walked outside, he noticed both Naruto and Tsunade were now about 100 feet from each other as Naruto called out, "I am ready when you are, but know this, I may be a genin, but I can still send your drunken butt flying." "As if, kid, now let's start." "Jiraiya, you ref," called back then said, noticing Jiraiya. Jiraiya just nodded, not wanted to deal with Tsunade right now. "As you wish, but try and keep it small. Now begin." As Jiraiya jumped out the way, nothing seemed to happen at first until there was a poof of smoke around Naruto. At first Jiraiya wondered if the Naruto from before was just a clone until the smoke moved, reviewing next to Naruto a weird Pokemon. It was yellow in color and had brown cover for its knee, wrist and upper body. In each of its 3-finger hands it had a spoon. It head with start shaped with 2 large mustaches like things hanging down for either side of its mouth. Naruto looked at Tsunade and smirked, asking, "I am going to ask, say this one last time. Give up before I prove that right now you are not worth of the title Sannin." Tsunade only glare at Naruto and his weird summon. "Kid, even in this state I will still kid you, but now attack me." Naru, to shock his head and looked at the creature, "Send her into the ground with psychic." The creature did not move as it closed its eyes and its 2 spoon glowed blue. At first nothing seemed to happen. Then Tsunade released, she was slowly lifting off the ground more and more. Then without warning, as she reacted a height of 10 feet in the air, she was slammed back into the ground with such force a few of her ribs snapped. causing her to gasp a little for breath as she rose back up in the air. Jiraiya and Shizune both looked at Naruto in shock as Tsunade was slammed into the ground again. This creature, it seemed, had full control over Tsunade, at least enough to make her move how it wanted. Then as it raised her into the air again, Naruto signaled for it to stop, as he spoke. Now Tsunade, see what I mean? You are not worth the title you hold. You are so drunk that you cannot fight back against my weaker summons. If I may ask why you have not used replacement jutsu yet to escape, don't answer because I know the reason. It is because you have given up. I am not sure on what, but you have given up on something and let go of the need to live. As such you are less skilled than me, a genin. Tsunade, though, was not able to reply since what he was saying was true. And so she could only glare at him as her body ached from its few broken bones. As Jiraiya spoke, the fight is over, Tsunade is the loser. Naruto nodded to the creature. Okay, let her go and thanks for the help. The creature nodded and vanished. Then without its power to keep Tsunade in the air, she fell to the group in a small pile as Naruto walked off to the hotel he and Jiraiya were stay at that night, not even give the group a backwards glance as he left. Jiraiya looked at Tsunade one last time and said, he is right, you know. You have fallen from grace. With that Jiraiya left, leaving Shizune alone to care for Tsunade and her injuries and her hurt pride. Chapter 9. Chapter 9. Tsunade woke up the next morning a little bitter. Not only did she have a slight hangover from the sake she drank last night, but she had been beaten by a no-name genin in such a way she should have not even been a ninja. She sighed and grabs a small bottle which contained her hangover medicine and took a quick drink, but found it was out, since she had not needed it for a few months and had forgotten to make more. Tsunade sighed and got up out and moved around, cleaning up and getting on some clean clothes. Noticing Shizune had left a note, she checked it and read she was out getting food. This left with Tsunade nothing to do, other than either walk around town and find a place to gamble or try and figure out what to do about last night. The first one was ruled out at once as this town did not have any early open gambling places. And the same was true for getting any sake. Tsunade grumbled before grabbing some food and ate it before setting out on a walk around town, trying to think of something else besides her defeat last night. Nor the still bruised parts of her body, since even with as skilled as Shizune was, she could not mend all the broken bones and all the bruises by herself in one night. She slowly made her way around town, looking at different things, thinking about yesterday. So many things had happened that had brought up things she had not wanted to think about. First and foremost things that came to mind were the fact that Orochimaru had shown up and his problem and offer for the fix to his problem. The offer, while sounding nice, was not something she would take. She knew about the just you that he would likely use. Meaning she also knew that while yes, she could see her loved ones again, they could also very easily be used against her. As for healing him without the so-called reward, she was still debating about it. Though she was not likely to actually do it, since it would brand her as a traitor to the Leaf Village. And it was only because she remained loyal to the village by not going against them these last few years that had kept the Hokage off her back. Then that brought her forward to the end of yesterday and her very painful defeat. It made her blood almost boil at the thought of being beaten by a genin so easy. Even if he had used a summon creature, she had still be beaten. And if she was honest with herself, Naruto had been right. She had fallen to the point probably a bad jonin could beat her at her best and a chunin or good genin when at her worst. Rather than where she used to be able to take on a few squads of Anbu and a few jonin at once. Tsunade kept walking until she noticed someone she did not think she would see so soon again, Naruto. He was training in an old, slightly burnt down field using only charka attacks, it seemed. She did not know it, but this was only part right as lighting seemed to surround his body before flying off and hitting a tree, destroying it completely. Naruto then stumbled and nearly fell as the lighting seemed to have affected his body, causing him to gasp for a few seconds before standing up and smile. He then turned and noticed her. Well, hello there. What brings you out here on this fine day? Naruto asked in a neutral tone of voice. Tsunade glared at him a little. And why should you care, boy? No reason really, just figured I ask is all, Naruto said before going back to training, this time working on the Rasengan. Much to He shocked Tsunade, who kept watching and noticed the control he had over it. She watched him a few more minutes before going to leave but stopped when she noticed Jiraiya walking up. "Well, I am surprised to see you here and not fighting, Tsunade," Jiraiya said, looking at her. "And why would I fight with him?" Tsunade asked with a slight growl. "Because of the things he said last night," Jiraiya said, watching Naruto. "Oh, and why should I care about that?" Tsunade said, glaring. "Because while mean and semi-uncalled for, they were all very true, and you know that as well as I do. But it might be Becca. You know right now you are still no match for him," Jiraiya said, only to dodge a punch from Tsunade. "Really, and why is that you think I cannot beat him?" Tsunade growled out. "It is like he says you are not worthy of the title Sannin. And barely worthy of Jonin title. It used to be you could face me and Orochimaru and come out on top. Now I am not sure if you could even face some of the lower level Jonin and win. While it is true I have also lost some strength, I have not dropped to like you have," Jiraiya said, causing Tsunade to growl at yet another true fact. "Oh really? Should I test this fact?" Tsunade asked, looking at Jiraiya hard with a glare. "There is no need for that, Tsunade. I do not need to have Naruto training stopped, though you know how it will end," Jiraiya said before walking off. Tsunade glared after him. "That is it. What right do you have to judge me? Do you know what I have felt?" Jiraiya stopped and glared. "Yes, I have, and Naruto even more so than me. But that pain of loss or being alone has not affected us to the point we have gave up on our life." Tsunade sighed and walked away, as it seemed life was just not going her way this time. If anything, it was bring the things she had done wrong back and out into the open, but sadly they were something that she needed to deal with. With one final sigh, she walked off, not wanting to talk anymore. "Naruto, no." Ticked this as Tsunade left and let the almost complete Rasengan fade from his hand as he walked up to Jiraiya. "I think you might have been too hard on her." "I was no harder on her than you were last night, Naruto," Jiraiya said simply. "That may be true, though I still don't think she should be Hokage," Naruto said. "No, not like she is right now, but if she can learn to deal with her problems, then she will be ready for it." Jiraiya replied back. "I very much doubt that is possible, but if I may ask, why don't you take the position? I can tell you could easily take over the spot," Naruto said, starting on his training again. "Oh, I know this very well. But there are quite a few reasons that I should not become Hokage. One of which is the female ninja population would quit in a few short days. The second of which is my spy network. I have not got anyone to replace me just yet. The third, though not really important, is the fact I want to keep writing for a few more years before I move down to paperwork. There is also something I still want to master from the wise toads before I can settle down," Jiraiya said, explaining. To Naruto, the second and last points sounded like good ones to him. But still that left the other two, which Naruto asked about. "So why would all the females quit?" "Because of the novels I write. They have caused a stir amongst the females of the world as a perverted book. That and a few other reasons that you don't need to know about," Jiraiya said, looking away. "You mean the fact you peek into female bathhouses?" asked Naruto as he tried to keep a new attempt at the Rasengan under control. "Yeah, that. I am a self-proclaimed super pervert after all," Jiraiya said, striking a small pose. "Yeah, I can tell, and if I am asked what was that about mastering something from the wise toads?" Naruto asked, noticing he was getting close and was not needing to use two hands as much to keep the Charka ball stable. "It is an art passed down by the toads to use Charka from the every planet itself. It is a very hard and semi-dangerous process and training. I have spent over 20 years trying to perfect it since I have first learned it. I am still a good ways off from truly mastering it, though," Jiraiya said, explaining. "As for the toads that teach it, they are the mom and dad to most of the current toad summons and can easy face and beat most of them even if they are only about as big as a large cat." "I see, so they are true masters of the toad art," Naruto said as a smile formed on his face as he showed the Rasengan in his hand to Jiraiya. "I think I can now use the attack." "Yes, they are. As for that, yes, you can use it. But is it battlefield ready?" Jiraiya said, then asked. "What do you mean by that?" asked Naruto. "Can you make it in a second or less if need be?" Jiraiya asked as he formed his own Rasengan in under a half second, it seemed. "No, but I would not use this attack anyway. It is very Charka draining to make one and hard to keep its shape." LSO with my style it does not really fit how I fight since I only use my charka for my clones and summons, Naruto said thinking about it for a little bit. Yes, it is a powerful attack but I am not likely to use it. I see any other reason? Jiraiya asked. No, not really, Naruto said before going through the summon hand signs and brought out a great deal of Pokemon, listed 181 to 200 and Kyuubi 2. Watch over them as he then summoned a huge group of clones to then work with the summons to master their abilities with about 20 clones to a summon. So just how draining are these summons on you, Sked Jiraiya after the smoke had cleared and he could see the clones and summons. Not very, most of these summons are lower in summon power though they know all the moves. Also none of them are cons. I'd really rare so I can go for a few hours with this group, Naruto said before settling into the taijutsu stance Kyuubi had taught him. And started going through the very few different moves it contained. It was based mostly around defense and deflecting, leaving his only job to protect himself while he maintained his summons and clones just you and if needed the hidden mist just you. Jiraiya watched this in wonder. Why do you fight on the defensive? I can tell very much you are an offensive person. The taijutsu was made so I could keep my summons, clone, and hidden mist just you all going without having to worry about my safety. Though if I want to go offensive I can use my true transformation jutsu to get into the battle, Naruto said before his eyes lit up and he made a clone. I see, and what is with that look in your eye? Jiraiya said noticing it at once since it was the same look the fourth Hokage got when he had an idea that could either completely fail or fully succeed. Naruto did not say anything as he picked up and threw the clone towards a rock as it did a transformation jutsu but this time the seals were a little different. For when it changed it did not a burst of smoke or a flash of light as the clone just shrank down into a swirling ball of charka and impacted into a stone. Jiraiya realized that the clone had become a weaker form of the Rasengan, or at least that is what he thought until the clone exploded after grinding a little into the stone. He then looked back at Naruto in shock and a little worry. Naruto had in short made an clone that could become an Ross Engan then explode with the force of a large explosive seal, destroying the rock that was only a little smaller than him. He looked over at where the rock once stood then sighed and shook his head. Naruto, I truly fear for your enemies. I am not, Naruto said with a grin that made one almost wonder at his sanity. I don't feel sorry for them, they are the ones who got in my way after all. Jiraiya could only shake his head in wonder as he said his goodbyes and left for the hotel. As he reached it he let out a breath he did not know he was holding as he spoke again to himself. I really should not have taught him anything. A shiver then passed over him, as he realized he was not going to likely be writing again for a good while. The end. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember to subscribe and like this video. See you in the next video.